Bosch is a multinational manufacturer with locations in 60 countries. The assumption of responsibility for society and future generations has a long tradition at Bosch. They pioneered welfare programs for employees, and the founder, Robert Bosch, was an active philanthropist. The Robert Bosch Foundation was established to focus on contributions to healthcare, international understanding, welfare, education and training, art, culture, and science. The Bosch Corporate Responsibility Statement focuses on 11 areas, those being human rights, equal opportunities, integration of handicapped people, free choice of jobs, rights of children, relations with associate representatives and their institutions, fair working conditions, occupational health and safety, qualification, environment, and implementation. Regarding their first point of human rights, Bosch states, "We respect and support compliance with internationally recognized human rights as regards those of our associates and business partners." In Belarus, protests have been going on since the August 2020 election. By January, over 30,000 people have been arrested, a majority being workers and trade union leaders. 45 companies were asked to act against the violations of workers' rights committed by the government. Bosch was one of 16 to respond in a statement saying they are following the developments closely and will continue to uphold all national and international laws in its business activities. Nanjira Sambuli, a Bosch executive who is on the UN High-Level Panel on Digital Cooperation, which is designed to provide internet to marginalized areas, says it is our task to ensure that human rights and values drive digital technologies. When looking at possible violations of human rights by Bosch, there were similar cases of age discrimination, which bring into question Bosch's ethical stance. Both these cases were dismissed on grounds that Bosch's defense was the courts did not have jurisdiction over the cases, and not that the discrimination did not occur. The second point of Bosch's company's policy is equal opportunities. They are committed to upholding and affirming equal opportunity among their associates, regardless of the color of their skin, race, gender, age, nationality, social origin, handicap, or sexual preference. They respect the political and religious convictions of their associates if they are based on democratic principles and tolerate those of different persuasions. Bosch focuses on promoting women by offering mentoring programs, including the Business Women's Program, a training program for women, a women's network, as well as a Girls' Day and a Girls' Campus. Through this, Bosch aims to increase the women in leadership positions. Bosch has received the Total Equality Award for Family Friendliness and Equal Opportunities in Germany. Bosch is pioneering and offering men leave time to attend to family matters and has also been recognized by the country of Japan for its work in family life balance. The strongest case against Bosch for discriminating against someone for their religion was found to be the union's fault. It was their fault for how they enforced contractual overtime distribution. Bosch was caught between following two sets of rules and just followed procedure with regards to the termination. Bosch's third point is integration of handicapped people. They feel that handicapped people possess equal rights as members of society and business life, and working with them in an atmosphere of cooperation is a pivotal element of corporate culture. Bosch created a work-study project to advance workplace inclusion of people with severe disabilities called the Acquiesce Project. This is a project that involves pairing humans and robots together. Bosch is a firm advocate for the disabled. They show this by having representatives for the disabled at each work location. Also in providing participation with workshops designed for people with disabilities. Bosch's commitment to people with disabilities is strong. The only case I could find against them, they were found not at fault. It was a good read on how Bosch handles their commitment to taking accusations of discrimination against the handicapped serious from the beginning of the accusation till the final judgment. The fourth point of the social corporate responsibility statement is free choice of jobs, in which they state rejection of forced labor of any kind and respect the principle of freely chosen employment. Bosch offers a tool called Job Connector, making it easy for associates to find part-time positions or job-sharing partners online. The aim of this model is to find solutions for associates while considering the phase of life that they are currently in. Bosch holds a firm stance of support on the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Act and disclosure of their use of conflict minerals even as a privately held company. Bosch also states its zero-tolerance policy for forced labor and human trafficking in the Notice of California Transparency in Supply Chain Act. In conflict with company policy, having been around since the mid-19th century and being a German company, at one point during World War II, Bosch was forced into the armaments manufacturing arena for the Nazis, even though it is firmly documented that Robert Bosch and his inner circle strictly rejected the Nazi ideals. In point 5 of Bosch's policy, it defends the rights of children. Bosch states that we condemn child labor and respect the rights of children. All enterprises in the Bosch Group will adhere to the stipulations of ILO Conventions number 138 and 182. Ratified in 1973, ILO Convention number 138 is a minimum age convention. Some provisions provided in this convention are a 15-year-old minimum age for labor, but some countries may petition for a 14-year-old minimum. It also states that 18 years is the minimum age for jobs relating to high risk in compromising of morals, health, or safety. Also ratified in 1973 was ILO Convention number 182, which prohibits the worst forms of child labor, included practices such as slavery, trafficking of children, forced labor, use of children in armed combat, or use of children for illegal activities. Each member commits to the importance of education for eliminating child labor. In point 6 of Bosch's policy, it states relations with associate representatives and their institutions. This is Bosch's goodwill towards the formation of employee unions at any time. Bosch respects the right to collective bargaining for settlements of dispute pertaining to working conditions. Bosch does not discriminate against any workers who form unions under their own free will, as long as those unions are in alignment with the rules provided under ILO Convention number 98, ratified in 1949 regarding the formation of labor unions. Bosch recognizes the rights of their employees to organize around the world, from Brazilian metalworkers in iron and steel plants to German metalworkers in automotive assembly plants to workers in India. The majority of Bosch's issues with labor unions has been in the country of India. Over the last 10 years, many Indian workers are upset with many corporations and employ a technique called an illegal go-slow order. In response to this, officials of Bosch will initiate lockouts, which are different from strikes in that it is management refusing to let the workers work. Point 7 of Bosch's statement is their commitment to social benefits, conforming at the very least to statutory standards, provisions, or respective agreements. They also agree to comply with national provisions regarding working hours and vacation. Bosch states that any associate may feel free to file a complaint with any manager if they believe they've been subject of unfair treatment. When evaluating fair working conditions, it would be good to get the views of the employees themselves. Bosch has a high rating on both Indeed.com and Glassdoor. There are a lot of comments from current employees showing they feel free to talk about their employer, both good and bad. Bosch states that they are committed to following ILO Convention number 100, ratified in 1951, in terms of remuneration and equal remuneration for men and women workers, for work of equal value. In a case where Bosch seemed to contradict itself and its commitments, they moved a plant and all of its inventory to an area of lower labor costs. After years of rolling back benefits from union members, Bosch finally moved its operations to a non-union area. Point 8 of Bosch's statement regards occupational health and safety. Bosch states that safety at the workplace and physical well-being of their associates has top priority. Adhering to the very least relevant national standards for a safe, hygienic work environment and taking appropriate action within this framework to ensure its associates' health and safety at their workplace in order to guarantee working conditions which are not harmful to health. Bosch is an industry leader in offering tradespeople extensive systems for efficient and safe working processes. Bosch is also an industry leader in developing safety sensors for other companies in production worldwide. One of these sensor-based functions is kickback control. An integrated sensor detects sudden blockages during the work process. For example, when tilting a drill or cutting disc, this function will switch off the motor within a fraction of a second, minimizing the risk of injury caused by kickback. Bosch has been consistently recognized for its efforts in worker safety. One example is in its operations in Michigan, receiving MIOSHA's highest award for safety in the workplace. The ninth point in Bosch's social corporate responsibility statement is qualification. Bosch states that we encourage our associates to train to acquire skills and knowledge and to expand and enhance their specialist know-how. Bosch Rexroth has a unique technological knowledge. This expertise is passed on to trainees and students as well as to customers and employees. This training is in the field of hydraulics, pneumatics, mechatronics, and automation, and occurs at the Drive and Control Academy. To CEO Volkmar Denner, qualification may be the most important of all the points. He quotes that investment in education has never been so essential as in the present age of digitalization. He also has much more to say on the topic of education. In contradiction to Bosch's policy, an event occurred during the incident when the Pennsylvania plant we had mentioned earlier was moved. Bosch refused to pay for the reimbursement for the workers re-training that were affected by the closure of the union plant in Pennsylvania. Point 10 in Bosch's corporate social responsibility policy is environment. Bosch states we can look back on a very long tradition of commitment to preserving and protecting the environment. In addition, we contribute to the future improvement of living conditions at our locations. Our basic principles of environmental protection reflect our duty towards the environment and the basis for many initiatives which are implemented throughout the company. Bosch is an industry model for enacting environmental management systems. By 2009, at each of their 292 manufacturing centers, they had their own environmental management system. These systems are based on the ISO 14001 international standard. In 1998, Bosch initiated a program to implement environmental management systems. The Bosch Group has taken several measures to achieve the overall 25% reduction in CO2 emissions by 2020 versus a 2007 baseline. In addition, Bosch committed to a reduction of 6% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the United States by 2010. Bosch's final point is implementation. They state our aim is to implement these principles throughout the Bosch Group. These principles will be incorporated into the Management System Manual for Quality, Environment, Safety, and Security in the Bosch Group. Responsibility for their implementation lies with senior management of the respective divisions, regional subsidiaries, and company locations. Bosch will not work with any suppliers who have demonstrably and repeatedly failed to comply with basic ILO labor standards. Following consultation with the respective associate representatives, associates will be informed through the proper channels about the content of the above principles. Complaints regarding possible breaches of the above principles will be investigated. Any action required will be discussed and implemented by senior management and associate representatives responsible. The Executive Committee of the Europa Committee of the Bosch Group will be informed about any complaints that cannot be dealt with satisfactorily at a national level. If necessary, the implementation of this declaration will be discussed at meetings between the Board of Management and the Europa Committee. Bosch has demonstrated many times in this presentation their commitment to their social corporate responsibility policy. In conclusion, Bosch promotes themselves as outstanding corporate citizens and has the track record to prove it. While it may seem like Bosch does not necessarily go above and beyond, their commitment to upholding the basic standards is impeccable.